everyone, this is Pat with some exciting news for you. On Thursday, April 25th, I will be going live on Tea Time with Bunky. That's 7 p.m. this Thursday, April 25th. Come and check me out.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. What's his message? Hi, Dan. All right.
Welcome to Tea Time with
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky.
This is super recent.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I missed you guys. I really did. Hey, everybody. Oh, I gotta fix my pixelations. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to have this conversation with me and Miss Williams. First, I would like to thank all of my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers. Everyone who is just viewing Tea Time for the first time, welcome. Good evening, Chris. Good evening. All of my original and older followers and subscribers, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining this ride with me, continuing on my 3-year anniversary. Tea Time with Bunky been live for 3 years, and it's all because of you. You can catch Tea Time with Bunky every Thursday live, unless I announce otherwise, on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. For those that are on Instagram, if you want to join in the conversation, hop off of here, jump over to YouTube, and that way you can interact with the conversation. Hey, Lisa. For those that also, you can listen to the show re-airing on Zeno FM on Thursdays at 8 a.m. on Culture Shock Radio, Rockbox Radio, Radio Faceto, New Mexico, Wap the Music FM, and on Sundays at 12 p.m. on Confidence Radio. These are all part of Zeno FM. If you can't find Zeno FM, just download the VGN Village Global Network app, where you can find these stations on there. And we are airing in, I found out, I keep saying 191. Now it's 192 countries globally. So tonight's guest, before I forget, those that aren't registered, make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you vote. This election is a big election. It matters. This one matters. It's pretty crazy. So my guest tonight is Miss Pat Williams, Miss Pat Patton-Williams. For those that know the Patton family, she's one of the sisters of the Patton family, and she's going to be talking about her journey as a caregiver. She'll tell you a little bit more as she comes on. So let's welcome Miss Pat. Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you, but I'm only on half of my page. I can only see half of you. I don't know.
Do you see you?
I see me. I see
you?
most of me, and I see hardly any of you. So
I see all of you. I see all of you. So hi, Miss Hamilton. So you know what? Don't pay me no mind. Then just focus on.
Okay.
How are you now? How is it?
Okay. I'll just look at your chin. I can see.
Just I don't know what that. No, well, I'm looking up. I see all of you. So we're good.
Okay.
We're good. Okay. So how are you tonight? Well, thank you. Thank you again for sharing your story. I appreciate it. It's a conversation that it's going to open up a lot of people's eyes, because it really opened mine to a lot. So tell everybody a little bit about you before we get into it.
Okay. So like you said, I'm a part of that Patton clan. So anybody from Sullivan County, probably back in the day, knew of our family. It was a huge family. I'm the 8th of 10 kids. I went to Fallsburg High School. Graduated from sunny Brockport. Then I moved to Rochester. Well, actually, no, wait, let me back up. I got married in 1985 and then moved to Rochester. I retired. I was working in a high school in a special education program, and I retired about 3 years ago. My retirement was twofold. My first granddaughter was about to be here, and also caring for my husband who has Alzheimer's. It was becoming more challenging, and I felt I couldn't really leave him home alone now. I needed to actually be at home more. So, so I retired. I still do. There's some events at the school that I still, participate in. Also, I coach a step team there. Everybody who knows me knows I love music. I love concerts. I love the 70s. Everyone says I'm stuck in the 70s, which is probably right. Yep. I recently, last year, I started a bicycle club, Major Taylor Cycling Club, and that's another thing that if anyone doesn't know who Major Taylor is, you can look up that information about him. It's a very interesting story. So there's about 90 cycling clubs so far, and so we're just one of those also. I've been married to Stan for next week will be 39 years.
Well, happy anniversary.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. That's a long time. God bless you.
So we have a son named Terry, which is named after my brother Terry, that the story about.
Rest in peace, Terry. Terry Patton.
Daughter Jade, and two stepdaughters, Deshea and Renata, and three grandchildren, Raiden, Marley, and Hendrix.
Okay.
And I'm a stepson, Brandon. So 2 days a week I watch my two grandchildren. So I have my hands full of those 2 days with them and Stan.
So how old are they? How old are the grandkids?
My granddaughter is 3, just about to be 4, and Hendrix, the little boy, is 9 months. So yeah.
Yeah, you have your hands.
If I didn't
full.
see them, so I get to see them twice a week. So guaranteed seeing them twice a week, and they keep me busy. So.
Okay. So we're talking about Alzheimer's, well, caregiving. But could you explain what Alzheimer's is and how it's affected your husband? So, who's a retired police officer.
Right. Yep.
Shout out to law enforcement.
In Monticello, and then an officer here retired. Transferred to Rochester.
Okay. So he was Monticello. Okay.
So a lot of people get the two mixed up. So dementia is a neurodegenerative disease that destroys your brain cells. It destroys, which affects everything: your thinking, your walking, your organizational skills, your personality, your memory, your vision. It affects all of that. Alzheimer's, you can look at like dementia is the umbrella. Alzheimer's is one of the diseases underneath it. Okay. So you've heard probably of Alzheimer's is also the most common of those diseases, because you've probably heard of Parkinson's, frontal temporal.
So that's all a part of
dementia.
Oh, it's all okay. All right.
They're all under dementia.
Okay.
Like frontal temporal, that's what I think Wendy Williams, was just diagnosed with that, and Bruce Willis also. Frontal temporal mostly affects your behavior. And actually that's pretty bad. It's worse than just having regular Alzheimer's. There's Lewy body, that's what Robin Williams had. So in the beginning of all of these, just like Stan's first diagnosis was, they will say that you have aphasia, which is your loss for words, or MCI, a mild cognitive impairment. So when they say he had a mild cognitive impairment, I was like, okay, well, this isn't too bad, but then as I read on, I realized a mild cognitive impairment is a precursor to Alzheimer's. So, and aphasia is the same thing. They're just beginning stages. So you are going to go ahead and get, Alzheimer's with those. So, and for Stan, when it's one of those kind of things. It's such a gradual, slow process
Okay.
that you don't even know, you don't even realize it in the beginning. When he was diagnosed, the doctors say you can go back about 10, 15 years, and there were signs there, little subtle signs of things that just weren't right. And of course, as I thought back, I'm thinking, absolutely. I used to be so angry at him all the time. I used to, just get on his case about not remembering things.
Mhm.
Something simple as Valentine's Day, forgetting Valentine's Day. And I'm like, Stan, it's the same day every year. How do you forget Valentine's Day? How do
Wow.
it's just
Right. How can you not take that personal? Like,
right. So
right.
that's what was happening. I was taking a lot of things personal, and it really affected our relationship because when I, first started reading about this, I read that one of the first things to go is your emotions. You emotionally flatline. So just think of years of this, him becoming just emotionless, no affection, and you don't know why. You're just trying to think of all kinds of reasons what it could be. So when I did get this diagnosis, I'm telling you, it just made a lot of sense. I felt guilty,
Mhm.
guilty for being so angry all the time, and I didn't know.
Right.
Um, yeah, he's always say, I always tell me he can't do anything right, and I used to say that. I used to say so many negative things, never thinking who would have thought, because technically he was in his 50s when he was diagnosed.
Okay.
So you're finding more and more diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's now. You can go
That's really
in your
awesome.
30s, late 20s, 30s now they're finding.
Well, what type of man was Stan before? So let's bring back. What was he like before all this happened?
Very quiet, very respectful.
Mhm.
The used to run, into exercise and lift weights, bike ride, read a lot of books. He was into beat reading. Very intelligent. My sister and I would play him in Scrabble, and he'd always come up with these words that we never heard of, and he'd be right. Yeah, we didn't even want to play with him. He'd always win. So what's happened now is his personality of being like that nice, quiet, mild-mannered person, he still is. So if he was maybe a boisterous, type person, the disease would make him even more so that. So I think it's making him even more so of a quiet, calm, relaxed, laid-back person.
Okay.
Yeah, he no longer. So the stages of Alzheimer's is 1 through 7.
Okay.
We're in stage 7, which is the last stage. So you start with mild cognitive impairment, then it goes to moderate, mild to moderate, then moderate to severe, and then you're in severe. So that's where we are now, in severe.
So what was the moment that you realized, okay, I have to take care of him? Because looking at the pictures of him in his uniform, like he was not super big, but he was a big guy. Like
Yeah.
you can see the pride in his face, and you can see all of that in his pictures.
Yep.
So
He took pride in his job. As a
Mhm.
matter of fact, we went on the Alzheimer's walk, and we met a bunch of officers that I like taking him for that walk because he recognizes faces. He can't talk to them, but he
Mhm.
recognizes them, and then they recognize Stan, and they call him Stan the man, and they always have these stories about what Stan taught them and how, Stan, like, you can't come in there with your shoes not shine. That's that military also, that was in.
Yeah. Yes.
Stan had to look right. Everything had to be perfect. He was, he used to run track, and I remember this one guy was telling him how Stan taught him how to chase after the criminals, how you have to sprint, and then you stop, whatever, and then like you sprint again, something. So his routine, whatever it was, it worked. So this guy
Okay.
about Stan. And Stan also did some tactical training when they at the academy to do that also. So he when he retired, he also he started doing some security work also.
Okay.
And that's when he was doing security work, and that's when we got the diagnosis. And
Okay.
I started to wonder how long he was going to be able to do this.
So it was it gradually that you realized, okay, I'm gonna have to take on this role, or was it like a specific event that happened and you're like, okay, it's at that
Well,
point now where I really have to step in?
right. You go it's a slow process because you go from like 100% spouse to now I'm like 100% caregiver. It's just you work your way up to that. Like in the beginning, once they had that mild cognitive impairment, they're still functional. They're able to do things. He was still driving. He was still working. When I realized, first of all, I read about, I can remember the day when I knew something was wrong. And because I'd asked him to go to a store, that he asked me, where was it or what was the store? Where was it? Like, as if he'd never been there before. And I was like, what are you talking about? Talking about Kohl's. It was Kohl's I needed him to go to. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what's wrong with you, whatever, and still not thinking anything of it. Then the next thing, something else happened. I was like, okay, then I Googled it, memory loss. And that's when Alzheimer's came up. And it had information you can do. You can, I decided to give him a test.
Okay.
So, you take this test and I'll take it too. Let's just see where we are on the cognitive test.
Okay.
And when I did it, I wound up like, 25, and Stan had like about an 8 or a 9. And
Oh, wow.
simple mathematics, we're talking simple memory, following a pattern. So I would have never known he couldn't do any of this stuff because we don't do that, that
Right.
I wasn't seeing any of it. So what I did, we finally did go to the doctor and I told him what I suspected and he said, yeah, definitely.
Oh,
And
wow.
he
So
referred
you went there knowing kind of already what was going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had read it and I sat there that night reading it. It was just devastating. You just read, just the diagnosis, what's going to happen, the whole process, down the road. And I think the good thing is Stan never knew. I never told him. I had a talk with one of the doctors about it maybe being unethical. Like, do we have to tell him what he has? I
Okay.
wouldn't want to know. And Stan's not that type. He's not very inquisitive. Like he wouldn't go Google something like I would,
Uh-huh.
He wouldn't go and Google it. He was just, as a matter of fact, I mentioned to him at one point, I said, Stan, you know what the doctors are testing you for? And he was like, what? I said, they're checking, I just want to see what he knew, So they're checking that you may have Alzheimer's. And he said, oh, and that was it.
It didn't phase him.
That could be part of the disease also, that nothing phases him.
I guess that was a blessing, kind of.
That's exactly what I said. So we never talked about it. And to this day, he doesn't know, it's harder on the caregiver than him because he has no idea he doesn't even know what he doesn't know anymore.
Wow.
So,
Okay. Well, walk us through. Okay, now you're in this role. What does a typical day look like for you? Now you got the grandkids on 2 days, which is even crazier. That's a lot.
it is crazy.
So what does your day look like? A typical day.
So
Without the grandkids. Let's go one without the grandkids.
okay. So it's all changed. It's just like everything else is gradual. It wasn't too bad in the beginning. Like I said, we're at stage 7 now. So now I have to do everything for Stan, 24/7, everything. I have to get him up in the morning. I need to get him up, help him get dressed, help him, I wash him up. I say help, but he does not help do any of it. I have to do all of it.
Okay.
Go, brush his teeth, get him breakfast, take the breakfast into him. I have to pick certain things he can eat that he can hold and eat them well. Sometimes he'll eat something kind of odd, like he'll eat the meat out of the sandwich and then the bread. You can't figure out what the brain is doing, why, he does things different like that. But I have to monitor what he's doing at all times, where he is in the house. I've had to get cameras in the house, cameras outside. I want to make sure that he doesn't leave and I see where he is all the time. I have to do lunch and dinner. Now that is a big thing because a lot of people know I can't cook, and this has never been one of my things. Stan made desserts. He cooked everything. He did laundry. I used to have friends that always say was envious of him because Stan had me spoiled. He did everything, and that's why when this disease happened, it's like I just have to take care of him now. He took care of me all that time, so now it's the roles reversed. So I do I do cooking, and the good thing about that is he can't complain about any of it. He may look at something funny if I burn something. He may look at it, but one day I had some toast, and then I came back in and one piece was missing. I was like, okay, I guess he ate the burnt toast, So But I do have my son and daughter who kind of help out. My son has a hard time with it.
Right.
He's actually just like helping. I think he had a hard time accepting that this has happened.
Right.
I used to talk to him about it a lot because I wanted him to see what I go through every day, how hard it is for me. Not only do I maintain taking care of him, I have to maintain the whole household.
Right.
Shoveling outside. We got like a 50-foot driveway. I got a shovel. My son does mow the lawn, thank God, 'cause that's not something I want to do. But any household chores, I do everything. So it's a lot. I've just now reached a point where I'm looking for some help. I've always felt like I can do it. And that's one of my advice to the caregivers: don't feel like you can do everything, because you want to feel like that way. And that's how I was, handling this. And so I've changed that up some now.
Yeah, because you get burnt out and angry.
Right. I used to do puzzles with them. I used to do in the very beginning, I would do some math problems, thinking that, okay, I know he knows better, like 12 plus 10. I know he can do this, and he can't do it. And I think in the beginning, I'm thinking I can reteach him, but when that part of the brain is gone, you can't reteach, you can't relearn anything. Those cells are gone. If the brain is shrinking, those cells are dying, and there's nothing you can do, about them.
How is this? Because this is your husband, the man you love. You've been together 30 plus years. How is this affecting you, watching him go through this? How are you doing? How are you?
I think maybe the one blessing in this thing is that, I don't know, it's good or it's bad. They call it the long goodbye, because it's such a long process. So you kind of, I think about my brother's sudden death and how devastating that was. Hearing him gone in an accident and, getting over that. But then a process that, you have time that you can, digest it, what's happening. Try to do your best to make it better, for him as time, passes. Right. But it's, I have my days, and sometimes I look at him and I'm like, it's just so sad that the person he used to be is just not there anymore. He becomes almost you become a shell of who you used to be. You don't, you may look the same on the outside, although he is losing a lot of weight now, but you may look the same on the outside, but then, on the inside, it's just a whole different story. I know he knows me,
right?
Knows who I am. He doesn't know, my name or the kids' names or anything. That he knows there's a connection with us. He used to tell somebody I was his mom when he was going to a day program, and they said, "Who's this lady?" So he said, "My mom." So, and you learn to let things like that go. You don't try to correct. Someone said, ask the same question over and over again. That's something he never did. And that's very common with Alzheimer's. He's never repeated asking me over and over the same question. That's
what Alzheimer's patients do. They repeat the same question over.
Yeah, okay. Most of the time. You can answer them, and then they can ask you the same question about 5 minutes later. Because new information, old information stays, but new information goes in and right out. Yeah. So, like I said, it's just, I look at him and I feel sad. I feel sad for him that this is what happened. This is his life now. We have plans, for retirement. And it's just changed, for both of us. So.
Who? Your support system. Who is your support? In the beginning, like when you guys got this diagnosis, well, you got the diagnosis. Who did you go to first? That's a question. Who did you?
Alzheimer's Association. They have a plethora of all kinds of resources for you that they can do. They'll get you in contact with this person, that one. That's how I started. I learned about the support groups. And I started off going to because what Stan has is early onset. So I wanted to go to a group of early onset people, because I didn't really want to sit there with people whose 90-year-old grandmother has Alzheimer's. It's a whole different dynamics when it's your spouse, someone who day-to-day living that it affects. So I went to my first meeting, and while I was in there, I was the new person. Everybody else is in there. Their spouse had either passed or was in a nursing home. And I'm sitting there, and my daughter went with me. I'm listening to these stories, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, this is down the road, And then I'm thinking, well, do I even want to be here now? I don't want to hear all this,
Right.
But, they kind of reassured me, and I'm glad I stayed because there was still a lot of information that I was able to learn from them. Like the one main thing was that, just live in the moment. Don't, just go with whatever's going on.
That's good. Live in the moment.
Yeah, live in the
That's
moment.
good.
So, and I started, so I was glad that I went. Then COVID struck, and then the group, there were no more meetings, and they recently just started back up. There were a few virtuals, so they just recently started back up. And also, there's African American early onset Alzheimer's group support group. So I'm a part of that.
So you go to an African American support group?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
That's a virtual one. We do that one over the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do that. I also
learning from you. I'm sorry to cut you off. Learning from you, I found out that African Americans, and then I did my research on it, are twice as likely to get dementia, Alzheimer's.
Yeah, that was a shock.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a mystery as to why. I think you read it. They tried to tie like diabetes and
genetics and different things.
All that with it, and we're also less likely to be diagnosed because we don't go to the doctor like that. We keep our elderly home, and we think maybe it's just like aging and they're losing their memory, and it's just all part of getting older. So a lot of it goes undiagnosed, but now they're really looking at the statistics and seeing that it affects us a lot more.
You gave me a list of books, like have these books. Where are they? I think these books. The 36-hour day, Alzheimer's through the stages, The Last Night by Bernadette Stanis.
All these books here, 36-hour day. The Last Night, Bernadette Stanis is, who she is?
Good Times, Thelma.
Thelma on Good Time. Her mom had Alzheimer's.
Oh, okay.
And before I forget, Dan Graspy and B. Smith, who was an African American socialite, his story was really enlightening. It was good because he was the one that said, and he didn't know what was going on with B. He has a chapter called Little Signs of Distance, where he kept saying something is happening. She's just not affectionate anymore. He thought she was seeing somebody else. He actually said you'd be surprised how many people may have divorced, not knowing what was happening in their marriage or to their partner, and never got a diagnosis because he said it happens. It happens a lot. But yeah, so these books have helped me. I've read probably about 10, 15 books. I joined some case studies at the U of R here. That's another thing. When I went to join those case studies, they were really pushing for me to do it because African Americans just don't do that. You think back to the Tuskegee experiment, and they said we just don't trust, being tested for stuff like that. So she told me that I don't get any African Americans who joined in on those studies. So I did a couple of those. They're caregiver studies, and you don't get to know the results of anything. You don't get to know, what. One thing I did learn, one of them was mindfulness, and it had to do with meditation. And I can't meditate. I told him I think I'm called. I have monkey brain, and I kept telling him I can't do it. If I'm laying there on the floor silent, I'm thinking about 100 things I got to do.
Yes, I can't meditate either.
So that one I know I didn't do well with, but everything else I'm sure based on how I saw that I did I think it was helpful for them.
Mindfulness, yes, that's good. That's taking time out for yourself, even though it's hard. It's hard. That's sitting there in the quiet, sitting there with yourself. That's a bit too much sometimes. That's too much. But what else do you do for yourself? Like, what do you do for when you can, if you can?
Well, I say this past year, I've really not done as much as I used to do. I have friends who say, even a couple of my girls in the bike club say they'll come and sit with Stan. it's not as easy for me to let go like that. I just feel like it's not a control thing, but I feel like I know what's best or how to do things better. And I don't know if I want to just let him, just somebody just come here and sit there with him. And I've had so many offers to do that. And actually, past few months, I started to take up on those offers.
Okay.
I read that, when people ask you for help, let them help you. It helps them, it helps you.
It
And
does.
it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
It's okay.
So, and my son and daughter kind of help out if I want to go bike riding. I've, and then I'll tell Jade, I'll tell them like one day Terry's going to get pizza. And I said, pick it up on the way here. He goes, no, you haven't been out of the house all week. You go pick it up. I was like, yep, you're right. I haven't. So then I go pick it up. I do Instacart for my groceries. I'm here a lot, and I'm beginning to realize that I need to get out, start getting back out again and get help for him. So that's where I'm at now, getting help for him.
Yeah, because burnout is very common in caregivers. Burnout is, it's really common. Have you experienced it? And if so, how do you manage it? Because you don't want to get it to the point where, not your case, this isn't you, people. I'm just saying, like, people who deal with caregiver burnout, some to the extreme, that's when the caregiver becomes abusive because they're you see that stuff, they don't mean to be, they're just tired and they're angry and about different situations. And it's not Alzheimer's.
There's a lot of behaviors. Like just today, there's a behavior that he has that I just stop. I just stop and just, okay, it's the disease, it's not him. And I have to think about it that way, because first couple of times I'm like, Stan, stop, don't do that, whatever. And realizing that he doesn't realize that what he did was wrong. So you just have to really just step back, take a deep breath, and just realize, it's not him, it's the disease.
Right, the disease.
I felt like I was like, the more I start looking at, figuring out ways that I can make things better for him. Like in the beginning, I put a laminated note in his wallet, to go with to the store. I just felt like I'm just trying to do things still to make it easier for him. So, I told him, if you don't feel like you can find your way or something, just give this card to somebody. I took all of his cards and license and everything out of his wallet, and I laminated them. No, I made a copy, laminated them, put it back in a fake wallet. So he thought, he thought he still had everything. Like I had to protect him in the beginning. I still want him to still feel kind of normal and protect him. And so I kept coming up with different ways, different things to do, and different ways to make this better, for him and for me. And so it's just like really this past years when I'm really feeling that this is a lot on me. I put a camera in his bedroom. I have him in a separate bedroom now. And I was torn about doing that. And now I've realized it was the best thing to do. I have a camera in there. I can see him. I can be on my phone in my room. I can look right in and see where he is and what he's doing. If he's sleeping or whatever. And that gives me some peace right there, because I did have restless nights worrying about him. Does he get up at night? What's he doing? Whatever. So, I have that. So you just find out ways to kind of help you, and not to get burnt out. Just things that are going to help you, and then take a break. When somebody's wants to help you out and take you out of the house just for dinner or something, for lunch. It's just so good. I miss all that, but I'm slowly getting back into it, now that I'm getting help here for him. That's going to allow me to go,
Yes. Back. It's okay to release some of the responsibility. It's okay. It's okay. You can't beat yourself up about it. You need it, because if you burn out and you're exhausted, you can't be there for him. You can't be there for anybody, because
very important. Take care of yourself.
You have to take care of yourself.
There was that day when I shoveled outside, and then I came and went to a roller skating Zoom thing that we had. Then I fell when I was roller skating, and then that next day I got up to take care of him. I could barely bend over. And I'm like, oh my God, look at this picture. I can't even help him out because my back, I couldn't even bend over. And I'm thinking, okay, that just was really like reality check there. Like, okay, I need to stop and take any chances. I am the caregiver. I am the only one. Who else would take care of him if I can't? You know, I know, so I just got to take care of myself. Get up.
Just no roller skating in the house. Just no.
Yeah, that was that was like that was my cousin Lisa's Zoom.
Yes, my God. Yeah, I'll be watching you on there. I'm like, oh my God.
That every Friday night. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
That's
And that's a good thing that she does for actually thinking about it. For like people like you that can't get out at all. Like you look forward to those parties and dressing up and well, now that I think about it, I'm picturing the Zoom and I'm like, okay, there are a lot of people there that cannot get out or go to certain places and they look forward to that connection, that community, the party and all. It's not just about going to a party. Because in my head, I'm like, this 9 o'clock thing isn't work for me. I got to go to bed. Like, I'm like, this is too late. But now I think about the big picture. Yeah, well, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, not for me. I'm still going to bed. But thank you for that's your out. That's your self-care right there.
Yep.
That's your self-care. Okay. And where is Stan? Is he in the bed at this time?
Nope. Right now, right before I got on with you, I hurried up and made dinner for him, and I just the other day had to get a step-through gate that separates my kitchen from the living room. Like I could see him now. He's sitting in there eating dinner, watching television. So I had that gate because he's going through a stage now. They call it shadowing, and what that is wherever I am, he has to be. Wherever I go, that was really annoying to me too. I turn around, he's right there. He doesn't know enough to move out of the way. Like he's like right there. I go to get something out of the fridge. He's right there. He doesn't go to the fridge or cabinets. No, he does none of that anymore. But in the kitchen, I think there's a part of him that feels like this is where he used to be. He used to do everything in the kitchen. He likes, I guess, when he sees me in here, but it was going to be so annoying. Of course, I went and started to look that up. Why do they follow you around? And then I read that you become their brain now. They are following you because they don't know what to do, and so you become their brain. And I'm like, oh my God, okay.
Like that's so sad.
I know. I said, okay, I get it now. Whatever I do, I'll get up now. I think he can see me. If I get up and go in the back now, he'll follow me back there. And so that's another thing you gotta just, get used to it. Like I said, I have this gate here now. Sometimes I just don't want him to come in the kitchen, but he'll stand there. He'll look at me. And he can't open the gate. It's really my 3-year-old, granddaughter opens it, but he doesn't get the concept of how to open it.
The latch. Okay.
Yeah. So I just that's good. I just I'm glad that.
Yeah, that's safe. That's safe.
Yeah.
Okay. Despite the challenges, like are there moments of joy or particular coping strategies that you have that help you get through this? Like I'm sure there are times you laugh and there's just he'll do something that just still fills your heart.
Sometimes, well, definitely the grandkids. It's either one or two emotions you're gonna get from them. He's gonna laugh, or he's gonna yell at him. He will say something. He's gotten Hendrix a little afraid of him every now and then when he would like Hendrix is crying. You get to learn that noise bothers them.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes like he can't stand it, and that's kind of challenging where I'm literally having him in one room and them in another room, and when Hendrix may be crying, I'll make sure I'm carrying. I pick him up, so he's not crying, and then when he yells at Stan has yelled at Hendrix, and I take Hendrix to Stan and I'll play with him, and then they'll Stan will smile, and then Hendrix will smile, and I think the bad thing is like they don't get the interaction from him. I don't know if they're really well, Marley is. She knows that's grandpa. And I'll make things that make him laugh. We'll play ball. He's always do this salute, and Marley used to salute with him. That was the other thing he used to do. So, but then on the other hand, I think she sees him almost as a kid because he doesn't talk to her. He doesn't tell her anything. Okay. He doesn't, so I'm not sure which way she's like reading him. but she knows that's her grandpa. And
Mhm.
he in the morning time, I take him into his room and he smiles, you know. So that still, I think pets and babies and kids are two things that always still will make, you know, someone with Alzheimer's, like there's a connection there to make them smile. Um, I always find joy in coming up with some new solution for some kind of problem that's happened along this process.
Mhm.
Like I said, with the whole thing with the cards, you know, the bed thing, and figuring out how to keep them from falling out of the bed. You know, I just sit there and think about, okay, what can I do now? How can I do this? So I just find joy in knowing that I'm making it better for him and me, you know, just by me doing my research and figure out, okay, what's going to make this work now? You know, where are we? So, when he, like that time I told you, when he sees other guys, other police officers, there is still something there.
Right.
And I think he remembers that he, you know, used to do that, and he always a smile, you know, at them also. So, you know, that's that, and there isn't a lot of joy between us. Like I'll get him to try to dance. Like the other night, I was trying to. Some song came on. And it's kind of sad when there are certain songs that you knew, like Kashif, we went to
Or
the
your song.
with, you know, Kashif's song used to be like his song, you know, Hall and Oates used to be. And there was a time when I played those songs, and I was like, okay, he's still there because he's reacting to them.
Right.
Now he doesn't react to them anymore. So like I said, you know, it's just a process of things that they were okay, and then they're just gradually getting worse as time, you know, as the disease progresses.
This is something that I can see just talking to you that your mind doesn't stop. It does not stop. It's your
Funny.
this disease is on your mind 24/7.
That is true, 24/7.
Yeah.
You're right. First thing you get up in the morning, yeah. But and what I've started to do, I look in to see if he's still sleeping. It's almost like, you know, when you're a mother have a newborn, and it's like when the baby's sleeping, you sleep. And
Right.
then I say, okay, he's still sleeping. I'm gonna stay in the bed, you know, a little bit longer. Or sometimes I'll say he's still sleeping. I'm gonna get up and go shower. Sometimes I get up and I'm taking care of him, and I have done nothing for myself. You know, I didn't shower. I didn't go brush my teeth. I just get caught up in doing for him. Next thing you know, now it's time to do this, time to do that. So you know, now I'm realizing, okay, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I go to bed, just do it do it at night, you know, before you go to bed. And then I don't have to worry about it in the morning. So that's been a change because I've never been like a night shower person.
I'm a night shower person. Just in case I got to get up in the middle of the night or something. I hear, I don't know if he experienced it, but I'm wondering, because you hear a lot with people with, I'm not sure if it's Alzheimer's or dementias, people who go through sundowning. But people that don't know what sundowning is, that's when your body, your time is really flipping, like you're up all night and sleep during the day. And like, did he go through that where his time splits?
He hasn't gone through that, but you know,
Okay.
it's crazy. Stan and I have always been night people. Anybody knows 2, 3. This past week, I've been going to bed about 4 o'clock in the morning, like every morning, and that's been no big deal. I have to tell myself now, go put Stan in bed, because what would happen, Stan would go to bed, and I'm still out here watching TV, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, lights are on, whatever. He'll wake up. It's happened a couple of times when he used to be able to dress himself. He'll wake up after sleeping about a half an hour, get dressed, and come out like it's a new day. And I'll be like, no, Stan, go get back in bed. So what I try to do now is, when I put him in bed, actually I close his door. So I'm
Close the light.
And shut the light off, and so he doesn't even realize. So he'll go ahead and sleep through the night. But that's sundown, and that's another thing. I haven't yet, but I have noticed within the last couple of days.
Oh wow!
Been falling asleep in the chair. Stan has never fallen asleep anywhere. We go on long drives. Just when I drive downstate, when it used to be he would drive, I'm going to sleep. You know, it's like 4.5 hours. Stan would go to sleep. We drove to Alabama. And I stayed up 21st straight, you know, driving. And I'm looking at him. He's still sitting up there too. He does not go to sleep. So for these past couple of days now, for him to just sit in there, he's starting to fall asleep. but still sleeping at night too. So it's not
Okay.
like things are changing like that. But sleeping more. There's just subtle. There's signs that things are just changing. Even that sleeping more is becoming an issue.
I'm sorry. I'm I'm sorry you're going through this. Um,
Thank you.
but like you said, the fact that he doesn't know that this is going on, like that's a blessing right there. Um, what to someone who's just going through this journey, right? Um, a caregiver or someone who's going to tentatively be the caregiver, what would you tell someone who's just starting this journey? When you first got the diagnosis, and like, what would you tell them? How would you tell them to pace themselves? That's it. How could they, because you have to pace yourself, because towards the end, it seems like you're doing so much more.
Right.
So
Right.
how do you
Right.
pace yourself?
I think in the beginning, let them do what they can still do. That's
Okay.
what the one doctor
That's
went to.
good.
I went to like 2 different doctors. One was like, okay, well, no, they need to take his guns away.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was another whole that was another whole issue. Take his guns away. He shouldn't be driving. And at that time, when I remember walking out, I was telling Stan, so she thinks we should need to put them, take your guns away, blah, blah. And the way he took that was he had just gone to the academy. He's like, I guess he shot like 98% or something. He goes,
Oh, wow.
he's trying to tell me his shooting was accurate. And I said, yeah, but it's not, we know you can and it's accurate, but it's the judgment that comes in now.
Right.
Your judgment is not good. But I told him, I said, but we're just gonna see. And that was the doctor. And then we went back to our gerontologist. And I wound up going back to him and staying with him because the gerontologist said, it's more like, no, well, Stan is okay to do. Say, you be the judge. You can tell when he doesn't need to drive anymore. Stan just on his own just stopped driving. We go to the car, both of us on the passenger side. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm driving. I didn't
Well,
know
that's good. Right.
that you hear you got to take the keys away from them or something. But no, he felt that he was not able to drive. So I took on that role of driving everywhere. It used to be nice to have him drive, but then my trips down south, everywhere I did the driving. But in the you just have to allow them to still feel normal and do what they can still do. You can tell when things are are changing.
Right.
Don't just kind of go with the flow. Live in the moment. Sometimes there's little white lies that you're going to have to tell. Sometimes there was something where I was telling Stan, I already told you that. And he's like, no, you didn't. And I said, yes, it is. Well, then I said, well, just don't say I didn't tell you, just say you don't remember. This was still before, the disease. So now I know that, don't get angry. Go ahead and, once again, it's the disease, not the person. It's going to be a bumpy road. There's a stigma included in it in the very beginning. That's why I didn't really want people to know.
Is there a stigma?
Oh yeah, it's like, well, think about it. If you hear somebody tell you somebody has dementia, you think it's crazy. The first thing that you think of is that they're crazy.
Yeah, you think mental illness. You don't think of sickness. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Looking at that person different, and so I tried to really kind of keep it undercover as much as I could. And don't sweat the small stuff. My girlfriend from college told me, I remember we had a discussion about Stan wanting to sleep in his clothes. And I go in, he would have gotten into bed with what he wore that day. And I was like, Stan, and I get him up and I change him and blah, blah, blah. And so I was telling her, and she said to me, what difference does it really make? And when she said that, I thought, I'm still trying to maintain some kind of normalcy there, keep everything. But when she said that, I said, I guess you're right. I mean, it really didn't matter. I mean, one night he and I got into, the first time I saw him get angry was because he went to sleep and he had his hat on. And I went to take it off and he didn't want to take it off. So we're like fussing over this hat. And that's one of those situations there. I thought about it the next day.
Choose your battles.
Yeah, keeping the damn hat.
Right.
What difference is it going to make? In the middle of the night, he's probably going to take it off anyways or something.
Right.
Yeah, so you just kind of learn that it's going to be a bumpy road, that this journey, though. lot of emotions, up and down. Yeah, and but like I say, you get some support, and not until you would have never thought that you had to deal with something like this, and then as you start talking to other people, and you realize, even when I talk to some people in my support group, their story is way worse than mine. Like they're dealing with a lot. I was like, whoa, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. I don't deal with this. You deal with people who've had to call the police on their spouse. They've gotten get violent with them.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So thank God those are things that, Stan is still that mild-mannered person. He has his little things that he doesn't like, and I just can't deal with him. I think I'm not afraid of him.
Right.
Then again, on the other hand, you don't know what the disease is going to do, like, as it gets worse down the road. So yeah, you gotta always keep your guards up, and just hope for the best.
Right. Hope for the best. Hope that his temperament stays the same. You had I'm gonna share this. Terry Pratchett had said after his Alzheimer's diagnosis, he would rather have cancer than Alzheimer's, because cancer many overcome, and Alzheimer's no one survived it. That was deep.
Yeah.
Because for years we're not projecting this on Stan. We're not projecting this anytime soon. But I never realized how the end game of this sickness was death, because you revert back, takes everything from you. Like people don't understand that.
Yeah, you stop doing everything. Your brain controls everything. And as those brain cells die, it stops you from doing everything that you do, that you normally would do. So that's why, it's like it's a slow death,
Yeah.
Basically is what they say. It's it's a sad process. And like I say, now this Terry Pratchett, like he was, you're gonna find people who know exactly what they have and know exactly what's in store, for them. And that's like I say, that's exactly who he is and what he did. And that's why I say I'm just so glad that Stan has no idea, of what's in store for him.
God knows. He knows all things, because who knows? I mean, because you took the guns. He was a police officer. Let's say he did know what was coming down the road or whatever, and you didn't have the foresight to take his weapons away, So anything could have happened, but you guys have this chance to live out the rest of his days and your days, because anything can happen. You could
I say it.
The bucket roller skating. You can kick the bucket roller skating around the house. Before him, you never know. So anything can happen to any of us at any time. So that's why I was like, I'm not projecting this on him, because anything can happen. But yes, the fact that he doesn't know when the weapons were taken away, and it wasn't a more tragic end, like.
Yeah,
so that's a blessing.
When Terry called me, I was at work one day, and he said, Dad's sitting here cleaning his guns. And I was like, what? Because at that point, Stan he doesn't know how to open a car door. He couldn't.
But he knew how to clean the gun?
To roll the window down. So to still be able to, so that. And so
that's that memory. What is it?
That long, but still, even the car situation, he should have known that too. But I don't know, I can't figure out like why those are the simplest tasks, just to push the button, like it's just complicated, for him. But yeah, when you told me that, I was like, okay, I'll be right home. So I came home and I got the lockbox and the keys. As a matter of fact, when I came in, Stan just gave me the key. He kind of, he knew he was doing something I think he shouldn't have done. So, and I locked him up. But and then when he was doing security work, and when I felt like, okay, maybe it's time to not do that anymore. And I called his boss and talked to him. It's just a typical response was, I thought something was going on with Stan. I just didn't know what it was. And yeah, even at work, there were things that they would see, just like during the security when he retired from the police department. But still, they still would have never thought,
Right.
it was. And not until I said to him, I thought, what was going on. He said, yeah, he seemed kind of distant. And I knew things were different with Stan. But they never questioned or never asked me, something going on with Stan? Nothing. They just didn't, think anything of it. I don't know. But
you're not going to jump to that. Like, okay, he's acting different. He has Alzheimer's, dementia. You're not going to think that,
Well, I am so cognizant of it in other people. I can even look at somebody. They're the eyes, the Alzheimer eyes. I saw a coworker a few years ago at the bank, and I was like, "How come she didn't even see me?" Or whatever. So then, when I went outside, and she was going to the car, walking with her husband, and I kind of looked at her, thinking, I know she's going to recognize me, and I was like, "Oh, I can see now. She has Alzheimer's. I can tell, right away. It's that stare, that look that you have." And I knew exactly what it was. And I think that like now, like, someone mentions something like I was telling you about, like if there's someone that you're questioning, like, there's your typical memory loss, and then there's memory loss that, no, that's just not right. And one of the first things I did with Stan, other than that test with the cognitive test, was to have him draw a clock. And I was telling you, there's something about drawing a clock that a person who has Alzheimer's can't draw a clock. Their clock would look a lot different. Sometimes the numbers won't be inside the circle. When Stan first drew his, he didn't even make a circle, and he made numbers going straight down in a line. And I'm looking at this thinking, what? Like, I don't know what it is about that doing that, but that's a telltale sign there that they definitely got a cognitive something going on there. Draw a clock and put 10 after 11 on the clock, something like that, 11:10. And if they can't do it, yeah, that's a simple thing. I told my cousin to, when she's questioning her husband, I say, have him draw the clock. Just have him draw the clock and see. That's a telltale sign.
11, maybe because I'm paying attention. Because you really got me nervous. I'm not even gonna lie about that, because I'll see people all the time and I do not remember who they are. They'll be talking to me and I'm looking at them like, and I just chalk it up as, sometimes I ask myself, do you have some? But my answer is no, I hardly see you. And I tell people all the time, I'm great with faces, but I'll forget your name.
And that's common. That's normal. But
okay.
After seeing him, and I question a lot of things that I can't remember. I'm
right.
Okay, concentrate, Pat. Okay, you got this. It's scary. I do. So I talk myself a lot of that. Like, okay, no, you got it. You remember. Nothing's wrong. Whatever. But yeah, it's scary, and you do think that way, especially now with all the new statistics out there. And now they do diagnose. They will put Alzheimer's as a cause of death, and that's another reason why it's so. You'll hear the numbers are so high now, because years ago, it's as you get towards the end, it's going to lead to other parts of your body that kind of breaking down, things, and but they wouldn't have your cause of death as Alzheimer's, and now they are acknowledging, okay, Alzheimer's is what caused this to happen. So yeah. And that way there's more funding and all, because that is the cause of death. It's not a heart attack or pneumonia. Pneumonia is one of the pretty common causes because you can't swallow it anymore. So then it would be pneumonia, but no, it's Alzheimer's.
Right.
So they're changing now. So that's why you'll hear a lot more about it, and the numbers are much higher now.
Okay. Well. Well, we're at 1 minute, but but I'm going to give you plenty of time to do what you got to do. But I want to thank you first before I let you go. Before I give you the final words. Thank you for being open. Thank you for your strength, because you were I was ready. I was like, oh my God, we're going to be on here crying together, but you were strong. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing the responsibility and realizing that you need help and you can't do it all on your own. So if nobody said thank you for that, thank you for taking care of you, because you can't give to him if there's no you,
Right.
So you got to take care of you. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm gonna give you the final, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do, give you this time right now.
So I thought about that, and I remembered a poem that I read, and so I'm gonna just read it right quick, and it's by Tara Reid, and it's called "If Alzheimer's Could Speak." Talk to me. I can hear your words, and they still touch my soul. Smile at me. My eyes can see you and feel your heart, even if I don't remember how to smile back. Hold my hand. I can feel your energy when our hands connect. It makes me feel safe and less alone. Love me. My heart can feel your love, even if my words can't express mine. Live your life. Help me on my path, but don't press pause on your life. Be the vibrant person I know and love. And that's it. Yeah. So
I didn't even think about the not smiling back, and I didn't. Oh my, that was.
there's no emotions. There's no, so that's what's hard. Like I said, that when that guy wrote that book about his two lanes, and he said, you have to, this is from that book, My Two Lanes. And he's saying like how you have to love that person that they were, that you married and you spent all these years with, but you still gotta love that person that this disease is making them become.
Right.
You can't get angry. You still gotta love that person too. You can't get angry at them. It's almost like you just accept it.
Right.
It's the disease, not them. So
right.
Those are my final words. It's the disease, not them.
The disease, not them. So wow. So thank you for that beautiful poem. Once again, thank you for taking time out away and taking your you time. This is your you time. So thank you for that. And for everybody, remember, thank you to all my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers. Make sure you share this episode because it's very important. People don't realize the little things, like you said. I mean, like everything we do, our little forgetfulness doesn't all mean we're going to be diagnosed with this, but it'll help you recognize it also in your loved one or somebody that you know when you're watching the changes and there's no diagnosis. And that's why I'm like, this is really resonating with me right now. Right. You can also listen to this. This show re-airs on Zeno FM next Thursday at 8 a.m. on Culture Shock Radio, Rockbox Radio, Radio Facetto, WAP the Music FM, and on Sundays at 12 p.m. on Confidence Radio. And this is global, around the world. So any place, Africa, Japan, Ghana, Pakistan, you name it, we're there. We're there. So share this episode. And you and Stan and your family are in our prayers. We know God got you.
Thank you.
So you
so much and for allowing someone and do this.
Absolutely. You guys go follow her. You got any questions or conversation or whatever? Follow her, Pat Patton-Williams. If you want people to follow you, that you might not want to.
Of course.
Okay.
Sharing the knowledge. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Help to somebody else, because if they find themselves going through this journey, I mean, that's a big help. That talk to someone who's already been there doing it. Yeah, we need to support each other.
Yes, absolutely. Support group. You all support each other. So you all have a wonderful night. Wait 1 second. You all have a wonderful night. I will see you next week, Lord willing. See you next.